And welcome to Business Focus. I am your host, the Eisen Agency President, Roger Roser. And with me today is a partner at Coors & Bassett, Matt Parrish, from the great Kent State University, by way of UC, I believe. So, you know, you're a lawyer.
Go Flashes, yeah. And a lawyer, that's right, yeah.
You know, people joke, people say, oh my goodness, and this and that, but the fact of the matter is, if you're a business owner, or you're in any kind of role of business, having a lawyer, critical aspect of having a successful organization. True? I mean, you got to have one.
You do. That's one of the things that I tell all business owners. I mean, you should have a team of advisors,
Sure.
which is very important. And that team usually consists of a lawyer, an accountant, and a public relations firm.
Sure.
All those skills.
The triumvirate of evil, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I call it the three-legged stool.
I like
you
that,
can call it, yeah, the triumvirate.
Right. And you got to have that, because at the end of the day, these folks are objectively looking out for the best interests of you, the best interests of your organization. They're there to help you succeed and help you grow.
They are. They tend to see across your entire business.
Good point.
And they learn your business, and they also get to see what works across a variety of industries. So they're
Excellent
really good
point.
input for an advisor group to a business.
You're bringing in expertise, not just from one industry or one sector, even one point of view, but an entire agency point of view of other work that they may have done.
Exactly right.
That makes good sense. Now, are there situations, Matt, that you see, you know, oh my gosh, I need a lawyer right off the bat? Should I have a lawyer before I even start my business? When do I bring one in? What makes sense?
Well, it sounds self-serving, but the reality is I don't think it's ever too early, especially for a startup business.
Right.
I work with a lot of startup businesses, and a lot of fundamental decisions are made at early stages that can have long-lasting impacts. So if you're a business and you have an idea for a new product, you want to start thinking about issues of, okay, how do I protect this?
Good point.
What barriers to entry can I put up? How can I structure this economically? How can I finance it? And it just goes on from there, and those decisions that you make at the early stages are really difficult or to change or have impacts to change after that time. So it's really never too early to at least start the dialogue with a lawyer. And a good lawyer should be able to help you work through all of those issues and help you decide how much do you need to use the lawyer then and versus how much do you need to use the lawyer at later stages.
Right, and again, you make a really great point of, you know, bringing in a good lawyer, never too early. At least have somebody in your pocket, you know, have your lawyer and have your team assembled before you absolutely must have a lawyer.
That's right, and you know, one of the things that I hear from clients a lot is, you know, how, you know, what should I ask of my lawyer?
Sure,
and one of the things that I tend to hear from a lot of clients is that they say, my lawyer was great at registering a trademark. You know, I told the lawyer what trademark I needed to register. He or she did it. They did a fantastic job, and that was really it. And one of the things that you should look for is, you know, that added value of advice and input, somebody who has the business experience who can help guide and talk about broader things in connection with the advisory group.
And just because you use that lawyer maybe to set up your business, that may not be the best lawyer to use to do Project X or Project Y. How do you know what type of lawyer you should be looking for? I mean, there's a sea of them just here even in Cincinnati.
That's exactly right. I think most businesses tend to, especially the smaller non-public businesses, tend to like to have a firm or a lawyer who's more of a general corporate lawyer, sort of at the helm as the quarterback of the legal team.
Good point.
A lot of times the firm will have sufficient resources to provide all the other support, but it does tend to help to have somebody to quarterback and manage the legal issues. But you're right, there are some times where one firm cannot service a client's needs, and it's in the client's best interest to go other places. And typically those tend to come up in specialty areas, like sometimes in intellectual property, admiralty happens to be one. It does come up a lot, but there are some times that there should be a quarterback on the legal side to help the client sort through those kinds of decisions.
And a good lawyer, if they legitimately have your best interests in mind, if they don't have an area of expertise, they're not going to wing it. They're going to suggest or recommend, even if it's at another firm. Is that fair?
That is a fair statement. I mean, lawyers have an ethical obligation to always look out for the best interests of the client, no matter what. And I've told people this, that, and I would say this even if I was not a lawyer, I mean, lawyers are some of the best representation that you can get, because they're not charged with looking out for anything else except for you, or in the case of a business, the business. And so it's nice to have that objective advice from someone to say, you know, I know this doesn't serve my best interest, but I'm really looking out for you, and here's what's best for you.
Right. And not that we are doling out free legal advice, but do you see any pitfalls, any areas that maybe commonality among small businesses or businesses in general, like, man, if they just didn't do that, or if they just did this, they would save themselves a lot of headache?
Yeah, it's a good question, because I do see that quite a bit. I mean, one of the things I would say is just to make sure you try to get the most out of your lawyer that you can, and by that I mean really try to find someone that you work well with, who wants to invest in the business, learn about the business, and understand and can help provide guidance and direction. I see a couple of things that business owners tend to put less emphasis on, and because they do, it ends up costing them more in the long run. And one of those areas is on sort of the exit out of the business. You know, it's a very different thing to manage a business that is going to be sold versus managing a business that's going to be held for generations. And some of the planning opportunities can take 2, 3, 4, 5 years to put into place effectively. And so I see a lot of business owners sort of not give that area very much attention until much closer in time to where the time they want to actually have some kind of an exit out of the business. And that limits
you don't do it a week before you're ready to
yeah. You tend not to get the best results when doing that.
Understood. Now your business, you know, Coors and Bassett, brand new location you guys just moved into right downtown, beautiful facility. You know, your organization, it's been successful. You guys have been solid. Any secret sauce or magic bullet that you guys could share for other businesses out there to maybe take a look at and go, huh, that really is a clever idea. I could emulate that.
Sure. I mean, I think it's a lot of fundamental principles that you just pay close attention to. One of the things that I've noticed is that it's a common characteristic of successful businesses is to really understand who you are. It's almost like a branding message.
Sure.
It's not necessarily the company vision, but a really condensed statement of who are we, and then have some leadership at the top that drives that vision throughout the entire organization, so that you can go through and talk to any person and say, this is what we are, and this is what we're about. And that helps guide all kinds of decisions that come up in the daily business. So that's a very helpful tip.
Know thyself, and then you can explain who thyself is to a prospective client.
Right, and it sounds like an easy process, right? To some extent, we know who we are and what we're about. Well, when you really dig deep into it, it can tend to be a longer, more difficult process than what you might think.
Sure. Now, if somebody needs to hire you, how do they find you, Matt?
You can find me on the web. We're at CoorsandBassett.com. We're also located downtown at 537 East Pete Rose Way, and feel free to call me anytime, and I'm happy to speak with business owners and people who are interested in the business segment and learn a little bit about their business and see if there's a way that I can share my resources and help connect them and make it a good opportunity for both of us.
Sure. Protect their business, help them grow their business, and be a good partner.
Right. You
bet. And that's really all you can ask for. This has been Business Focus. I'm your host, Roger. Over and out.